it wasn't fun for me. Until the day I walked into a restaurant equipment store and looked at all the equipment that was there. I was like a little boy, a little boy in a toy store. I realized I love cooking.
Wow.
The passion of taking food fresh from, from the market into somebody's plate is a process that for me is the most refreshing thing that I can do to a human being, to participate in their culinary experience.
My goodness, you can even, I'm in the studio with Kevin tonight, and you can even cut it with a knife because I can hear the passion just drilling from everywhere. He is really, really passionate about everything, and let me tell you, I can see in his eyes that you have to have passion. And he said something, you have the experience. Eating shouldn't be just filling your tummy. That's what I hear from you, Mr. Kevin. Is that right?
Absolutely.
It should be about an experience, the experience of even putting the food together, and that is in the back end, bringing it to the front and serving it in a plate. Is that crazy? That is really what you think you're crazy about?
Yes. I mean, a lot of people say that, they can cook.
Mm-hmm.
But when they serve you the food, they don't look at you in the eye and see what that food will tell you right away.
Served with love. That's what it is.
When I serve you food,
yes,
I will sometimes probably stay very far away from where you are, but I want to watch your experience.
Oh my goodness, this is new.
Doesn't lie to you.
This is new.
When you receive food in your palate,
yes,
you cannot lie. Your body language will say it all very clearly.
My goodness, that is a transition point for me, because I never thought someone looks at my eyes, looks at the food. There are some times I've told the restaurant person or the waiter, oh, it's good, this is all right. But in reality, I was like, what did they just do? What do they think? Even sometimes I think it is little. And I didn't know someone is watching. Kevin, you woke me up. So I didn't know, and it is refreshing to know someone is even monitoring. I think some people don't. I think they just give you the plate and you start eating, but it is refreshing. All the restaurant managers out there, you have to read the kind of the emotional factors that are leading to the eating and see whether they can tell you more than actually the eating itself. Now, Kevin, listen, Kevin, you and I met in Washington, D.C. sometime 2 years ago in Smithsonian event, the international event that comes together once a year to kind of bring the cultural diversity across the world, and people are dancing to show off the dances and the dances, and also to show the food, the culture, the clothes. And boy, you are cooking, you are sizzling everything. You had food, chapati, samosa, some things that I tested, and they were like really interesting. So Kevin, let's talk a little bit about the Swahili village dish. What do you serve in the Swahili village dish? What do we find in there? And you can even tell us where is the location, the approximate location where we can come and eat this food that is made with love, that is served, and the manager gets to watch the customers. Tell us about that.
Well, the Swahili food is a mixture of a lot of cultures of the sides of the region of East Africa. Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, all practically eat the same cuisine.
Wow.
This cuisine is blended from the Indian recipes that we traded with the Indians from, early centuries. The Arabs, the Portuguese, all came together with all kinds of seasoning and spices. And this has blended all through the cultures. We are talking about hundreds and hundreds of years today that makes a total of some of Swahili culture.
Where does the Swahili word come from? Where do you get that word from?
Well,
where did you are bringing your background? Where do you get the Swahili village? Is it East Africa, Kenya, Ethiopia? Where is that?
Well, Swahili is spoken by 400 million people in Africa.
400 million people?
Yes.
Wow.
And so when I decided that I'm going to open this restaurant, I wanted to bring across that one unifying language.
Yes.
Because you know, you unify people by language, but more importantly, unify people by food.
Oh my
What
goodness!
they eat.
I am thinking, I have a PhD, I'll tell you, I never thought eating could be seen as a language, as a unifying element. Everybody gets to eat. Oh my God, me too. I get to eat, and I am very refreshed just to hear that. You know, I'm a learning person. I took Gallup and the other day, and one of my top qualities is I'm a learner. I want to know. And knowing that is refreshing. So you wanted to bring the people together, and so you get a lot of, is it because there's a lot of people around this area? Where is it located? Is it in a place where you find a lot of East African people in there?
No, not really. Even though location, as we always say about restaurants, this is more of a destination restaurant. Now, if you want to know, the Smithsonian Folklife Festival is one huge event that takes place every year. And they do this primarily because they want to show culture. Culture is so pronounced by what you eat. It's amazing, Dr. Jeff.
Wow.
Because the most important aspect of a Smithsonian cultural event is the food, the food, the restaurant side of it.
Wow. Yes. So that's why
Music.
I went straight to your location, to your booth, and I was devouring. I wasn't even eating. This thing was smelling. The smell. Forget about even getting the food. The smell that was coming out of there. But now that we know that you are able to actually bring, that is very special. Even it's a business mind itself to bring so many people together. Now let's get into your restaurant. Let's talk about the restaurant operations. The restaurant operation as a manager. And I know when I spoke to you earlier, you hire a lot of people, but you know, there are two things we have spoken. If you want to go to the business restaurant business, what you need to do. Can you tell us briefly, if someone wants to go to, in a nutshell, cut the barrier, bring down the barrier, cut the red tape. Tell us, if you want to be in a restaurant business, what are some of the things you must have? Tell us.
One, like we say, passion.
Passion.
And then secondly, you must have patience.
Patience.
Like you've never been.
You've never had before.
I tell you yes, because it is like having a baby.
A baby.
When you get into restaurant business, you know you have your first child come through. This child is going to be raised, be fed. You have to watch the child make their first steps.
Yes.
Watch the child get up to be able to hold their first, you know, whatever it is they can hold on their own without falling down.
Yes.
And
Stand up.
but the child be able to get to the bathroom. All
Nurture.
little things that you need to do with your child until the child can walk on their own, until they can go.
Wow.
That is how
Condition them that this is the right place. You have to do it.
Restaurant business is very, 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 very demanding of your patience. Like
Demanding of patience.
Like a child.
You can hear that. That is a transition point. You may have many transition points in your life. One of them, patience and passion. Now, as a manager, you have hired a lot of people, and there are people now that is owning a business. Now, let's go to the managing people. When you are managing your employees, you have a lot of people you manage. What do you expect of them? Just in case someone wants to go to the restaurant business, to be a waiter, to be this and that. I bring it to you. I do not leave anything. I go to the field and leave everything there. So we're going to have to bring all these barriers. If you're thinking of going to work in a restaurant, let's hear from the restaurant owner, the restaurant manager, and tell us what it takes to manage a restaurant. What do you expect from your employees?
Well, expectations from the employees usually that they give you their best.
Okay.
Well, and that's true. But do you give them your best too?
Wow.
You must give your employees just as much. I'm from the school that thinks that if you treat people well, they will ultimately, you break them down, even if they're terrible people.
Terrible workers.
We've retained our employees.
Retention.
Yeah, especially the key employees at the back of the house, which is basically the kitchen area.
Wow.
Because you can't keep, the more you lose, the more you're losing.
Wow, this is, let me tell you, I have a master's in business administration. I am telling you, those are things you learn a lot in school in terms of employee retention. And I have managed employees, I had to retain them. But it is so refreshing hearing from a real person in the field who also has to retain people by knowing you have to manage your employees so that you can have productive employees. That is real. That is really what should be happening out there. And I was refreshed because I thought a lot of people may think if you own a business, you tell people what to do all the time. It's not about telling people what to do. It is also offering your services. You are also a servicer. They are servicing your business, but you are servicing them. None of you really has a full mandate to do anything they want. You have to be working for them as much as that is a transition point. We are looking for all of them. We are leaving nothing untouched. Now, tell me, this is interesting. Mr. Kevin, I've gone to a restaurant and I see I'm waiting on the line and I see there's an empty table there, another empty table there, but the waiters are just looking at me. I don't know why they're not feeding me on that table, and I start getting irritated. I want to know, why does that happen? Tell me, is there something that I don't know, or those restaurants are a little negligent?
I don't think so. Yes, that's a very interesting question you bring up, because a restaurant also has a system, and you can throw them off very easily. I have often had this experience where customers walk in and they walk straight onto a table because they think, oh, I can sit myself, that table is empty. Oh no, it's very structured in the way we think. We want to make sure when you come in, we are able to give you our best service.
Okay, good.
You can walk right through and sit down, and believe it or not, you think the waiters are looking at you. They are not looking at you, they're not seeing you.
Really?
And many times you've walked in a restaurant and blamed them for bad service. You sucked yourself.
My goodness, America likes eating out. You are listening. America is listening. So tell us, what can you advise us as customers when we go and find these empty tables? What is that you want to tell us as customers to do so that, I think an educated customer is a good customer. So if we know what we are expected of, we probably can portray behaviors that make it easy for the restaurant, and they also not irritated. Because I would hate to eat food when I'm irritated. I get full immediately, 50%, and then half of it, I don't want it. So what can you tell us that we should be doing or expecting? Because America is listening now, so that the whole harmony can come together. Bring down that barrier, reduce the clutter, and cut the red tape, sir.
Be patient.
Be patient. That is the big word for today, the transition point. Be patient, and then you'll be seated.
Be patient. You will be seated at some point. It won't take too long. Just be patient. But when you walked onto your seat and you sat down by a service professional,
yeah,
we know that you're sitting here. We need to serve you well.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, before we even go very far, and we're gonna just one more minute before I get done with Kevin. Actually, we want to thank you for listening, and we're gonna listen to our sponsors for now. So let's hear from our sponsors.
Are you looking to create an impactful business plan? A plan with better chances of getting the finances that you need? Or are you looking to write that grant for your non-profit today? Well, don't waste your time. Call Practical Consulting Services today and complete your plan in no time. Our experienced former bankers and financial analysts have an idea of what the financial institutions are looking for. They stand by to help you. Call 240-595-2708. Again, 240-595-2708, or visit us at www.practicalsolutions.com. Practical with a CO at the end. Practicalsolutions.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are just getting started. The studio is just getting warmed up, and we are just getting started, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be having other visitors, but before we get there, I want to thank Mr. Kevin Onyona for coming and enlightening us. And those who are still listening, this is Transition Point, WOL 1450, every Saturday, 1 to 2 p.m. If you want to call and have a question, even for the next guests who are coming in, that is Will and Sofina Beset. You can call in 800-450-7876, 800-450-7876. So, ladies and gentlemen, Kevin, thank you for coming. Final question, will you come again if we invite you so that we can further this good cause? I want people to know what you need to do when you start a business. I have thought about restaurants, but I refuse to talk about restaurants. You know why? Why should I do that when Kevin has run it and he can tell us exactly? We are very practical. Thank you for coming, Mr. Kevin. You have a wonderful day. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jeff, for having me.
Wonderful. Ladies and gentlemen, Transition Point. I told you, this is a show that we are very practical about everything. We cut around the red tape, and then we let you make the decision. And as I get the next guest, ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you this. There are two announcements I want to make. These are special announcements. These announcements are very special because they are coming up, and you know what? Transition Point is transitioning as well on TV. I will be hosting Transition Point, and one of the sections of Transition Point on Cast TV International. It is mostly directed to diaspora across the world, and we will be having Transition Point there. There will be actual red seat where we debate, we argue matters of national importance. We talk about the youth against violent extremism, how we can lead them, go to the right places, how to go to school as well. Ladies and gentlemen, we are getting on fire and we are leaving everything to the field. We are changing lives, one life at a time. The other thing I have to tell you, more than that, you wait for announcements. I will be doing that once a week for the TV. The other announcement is June 4th. We're going to be having one of the great gospel singers. Her name is Esther Liana from Nairobi. She sang a great song, Liana, which is she'll be joining me actually remotely from Nairobi. We are getting to no limits. Everybody in the world, whether you are in Australia, in Africa, Asia, Japan, China, everywhere else, you can call in. Remember, you can also go online and join us live. This is where we cook everything, we decide the matters, you ask questions, you raise concerns, and we kind of dialogue. This is a talk show. So Esther Liana is on the way. She is one of the big gospel singers in Nairobi, Kenya, and I can't wait. This is gonna be huge. So ladies and gentlemen, again, this is Transition Point. Those who are joining us now, I have with me in the studio, and I'll tell you, this is the most interesting story that you have ever seen or you have ever heard. Mr. Will and Sofina Beset. They are from Kentucky, and they were visiting the area. They were looking for what is good in Washington, D.C. metro area. They came upon my Dr. Jeff Speaking.com. Remember, I told you, I choose the topics according to how you ask me to do it. If you want your topic to be, or any topic you are interested, or you can actually want to come to the show, and you have a great story, you can go to drjeffspeaking.com. And once you go there, you can send me a note. I look at the topics that are trending. And guess what? I pick up a topic of the day that is practical. We're going to be talking soon how to market yourself. That is the topic that is trending already. And I'm going to be talking about, get ready on that. I'm writing a book about how to market yourself. And that is huge. People want to know after college, how do they market themselves? Then there will be other topics that will be coming up, and we will invite people to talk about how to succeed. Like Esther, Liana from Africa. She had a tough life, but she kept hope alive. And she talks to us through gospel, and this is going to be great. I can't wait. June 4th. Get ready, ladies and gentlemen. So, with me in the studio is Will and Sofina. I'm going to take the opportunity to welcome you to our studios, Will and Sofina. Welcome to our studios.
Thank you very much for
Thank
having us,
you.
Jeff.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, Will, wow, tell them how did you come across our radio show? What are you doing in town, and why did you stumble over our radio show?
Well, the two of us decided to make a trip to Washington, D.C., and we were really interested in kind of learning more about the area and maybe having a first-hand account of what's going on in the area and getting some more information about what there is to do, who there is to talk to, and just kind of having a local idea of what's going on. And we just kind of stumbled across some of your speaking, listened to a couple of your radio episodes, and decided to get in contact with you. And now, initially we had talked about just kind of getting coffee, and you kind of surprised the two of us with this invitation, and here we are.
My goodness! Isn't that beautiful? I told you, this show is for everyone. From the lowest, I would like to see Oprah here call in too. And let me tell you, everybody can call because greatness, success, it belongs to everyone. And the money is just a minimal element. And let me tell you, everybody has a story. These two young kids, they are even in the early 20s. I wonder even whether they are in 20s yet. But they are very young. But I decided to, change my schedule within the studio and accommodate them because they are within town. They are from Kentucky, and they're gonna tell us a little bit about themselves. They came to visit Washington D.C. Will and Sophina. How do you know each other? You guys seem to be very happy together trying to visit Washington D.C. You know each other from Kentucky, and how do you, when did you get together? You go to school? Tell us, Sophina. Go ahead, take a bite on that.
So we originally met in high school back in Japan. We both went to school in
Japan?
Yes.
My goodness, you met in Japan.
I did.
What were you doing in Japan, Will? You are young. What are you doing in Japan?
As a child, my parents were expatriates, moved overseas to Japan for work, and took the family with them, and went to an international school overseas for 4 or 5 years, and that's where we met.
You have been in Japan for 4 or 5 years, and were you touring in Japan, and you decided to stay in Japan? What happened with you in Japan?
I'm actually from Japan. I was born and raised there.
You were born and raised in Japan.
Yes.
And you went to school in Japan, so you understand Japanese.
Yes, I
Can
do.
you say hello to people? I'm sure there are listeners who are also Japanese. Can you say hello in Japanese here?
皆さんこんにちは。
My goodness, I refuse to repeat that because that one has a lot of, I might bite my tongue and the show may just finish right here. But we are very happy to have you guys in our studios. So tell us, where did you go in Washington, D.C.? Did you like us in Washington, D.C.? Did you visit anything or anywhere? What are you doing in Washington, D.C.?
It's been great. We've been doing tours of monuments, a lot of the Smithsonians and some of the museums, and one of the big ones that we went to just yesterday actually was the museum, which talks about the influence of media and radio, and I mean it's very appropriate in this kind of setting to talk about that. Just the voice of people and being able to communicate now with digital media. You can get your message all over the globe, right?
Wow, that is Will. He is well spoken. The man is threatening my job. My goodness, as a young kid, one of my passions is like to promote young people to greatness and to leadership. That is very well spoken, young man, and you're doing very well. So, Safina, are you enjoying your life, your time around in Washington, D.C.? Did you enjoy anything? Is this your first time in Washington, D.C., Safina?
Actually, yes, this is my first time out here. It's been very interesting. I love the diversity here. Just all the different cultures, the different types of food. We had Ethiopian food last night. It's been great.
My goodness, that's Sophia. She's having good. And remember, she's from Japan, where food is diverse and different kinds of food. So when Sophia says food is good, oh my goodness, I believe her that when someone like Sophia says food is good, it's gonna be good. Now, so let me ask her, just take a step back and ask a quick question here. What attracted you about this show? Because when you spoke to me, you are passionate about what we do in Transition Point. What attracted you to this radio show?
It's enabling people, you give them the skills to go forward and do what they're passionate about. You just spoke with Kevin, and he's obviously very passionate about what he does, and to be able to inspire people and give them the skill set to be able to be passionate but also competent in what they want to do is I mean, you give so much back to the community that way.
By my goodness, back in the years, I don't know whether I was able to speak this clearly. I gave you my story from Africa, ladies and gentlemen, and I don't think I was able to speak at his age that clearly. But you are going a lot of places. That is, what did you like about our show, Miss Safina?
Well, you talk a lot about success, and I think that's something everybody wants. So I think just